We've all seen one of these before, right? It's called a clapperboard or a clapper, and it's used to do a slate. But how did this relic of TV film become standard in our everyday auditioning as actors? And how could it be keeping you from getting a job? Hey, I'm Levi Packer. Now, these clapperboards were so extremely important in the early days of TV film. You would simply take the clapperboard and write all sorts of information that was important for production, such as the production name, the director, the take number, if it's an interior or exterior shot, and a myriad of other information that might be valuable to production or to post-production. Then whenever the scene starts, you get that iconic clap that we always see. Now, the way that production used this was during the editing process or the post-production process. Instead of scrubbing through hours and hours of footage for thousands and thousands of takes, they could simply look at the first frame with the clapper and see all of the information that was relevant to them without having to spend hours looking at the footage. And in those early days of TV film, that clapperboard was made out of the stone slate, thus the name Slate. This process of slating was so important in post-production because the editor could get valuable information quickly, the director could get valuable information quickly, and the audio engineer could line up the dialogue with the actual clap of the clapperboard. The basic use is to get valuable information quickly to people behind the scenes before the scene begins. So how did this concept of the slate carry over into modern day acting and auditioning? Well, it's the same principle. Casting and the behind-the-scenes people need key information about each actor auditioning quickly. So it is the industry standard to give a slate before your audition, which is basically just an introduction video of yourself. This usually consists of your name, your height, your location, your availability, your agency, and lots of other information that casting might find valuable or relevant to that particular project. It's a way for casting and the directors behind the scene to weed through actors quickly, to reference actors quickly, to find takes quickly without having to scrub through every audition and every take. Makes sense, right? So your actor slate is actually simply your introduction video to casting. Now, technically, how do you actually do a slate? Well, you're always going to film your slate standing. Standing gives much more energy to the camera, whereas sitting can make people come across as more lethargic or low energy. When you frame your slate, you want to go shoulders up. Some people will request even tighter, maybe neck up, so it's more like a headshot, but usually you're going to get mid-chest to shoulders up. It's just a tight shot because they want to see you up really close as if you're in the room with them. Your slate should absolutely not be drawn out and long. You want to keep it short and tight, about 10 to 15 seconds usually. And you really want to stick to the information that casting is asking for, such as your height or your agency, and not a story about your childhood trauma. You want to fix your face so that you look charming, approachable, friendly, easy to work with, and most of all, professional. Your slate might simply look something like this. Hey, I'm Levi Packer, I'm 5'7", and I'm represented by acclaimed talent. It's very simple, but it's necessary, and there are a couple of things that you can do to work this to your advantage. Now, we already know that your slate is being used by the casting directors, the director, and who knows who else behind the scenes for organizational purposes and for technical and logistic purposes. But this is really something that you could use to your advantage to book yourself a job. See, many professionals in the acting industry refer to the slate as the actor's handshake. Isn't that lovely? And it works exactly like it does in real life when you shake somebody's hand and meet them for the first time. You get a sense of who that person is, what their motives might be, who they are at their core, and really whether you like them or not. So using that first little 10 to 15 seconds, which is not long, to really look through the camera at the person you're talking to, smile, tell them your name, let them know where you're from, be natural, be likable, just be yourself. There should be a sort of ease about you, yet confident. You should speak with clarity and with intention. You should try to keep yourself still and not moving around too much and letting all that nervous energy show. And ultimately, you just want to show them that you're somebody who's easy to work with, who's fun to work with, and who's ultimately a professional at the end of the day. Now, when casting says, give me your name, height, and agency, they're not necessarily asking for those other things that we just talked about. Those are just things that you can add that subconsciously tell casting that maybe you're a contender for this role. It's a way to make casting remember you, even if it's not for this particular project. There are plenty of people who have gotten cast for future projects based on an audition that impressed the casting director in an earlier audition. Now, there are tons of mistakes that I see actors make all the time with their slates, and they're easily fixable, and they could be costing you the booking. The first thing is going to be any deviation from the things we've already talked about from a technical standpoint. You really don't want to film yourself in a bizarre way, like from a weird angle or from above or from below. You want to stick with that industry standard type shot and do all of the other things that we've already talked about. Second of all, I see people apologize. Now, being apologetic doesn't necessarily mean saying you're sorry, although I do see that too. Please do not say, I'm not available for this particular shoot date, I'm so sorry, or I'm based in such and such Arkansas and I'm sorry. Nothing like that. My name is Levi Packer, sorry. Sometimes you don't have to say that you're sorry, sometimes you have an apologetic energy, where it's more like, hi, I'm Levi Packer. Anyone who's hiring an actor for a job that actor needs to own and be responsible for is not going to cast somebody who's already apologizing. Keep it confident, keep it truthful. You do not want to be overly theatrical or performative. You're about to read the sides for the character that you're auditioning for. So we're going to see the character when you do that work. We want to see you in this moment of your slate. And you only have around 10 to 15 seconds to accomplish that. So go ahead and drop all the pretense, drop the characterization, drop the big theatricality and the put on faces and the put on energy and attitude. That's not going to serve you. We just want to see you relax, be yourself, and get the job. The same thing applies with like your rushed or nervous delivery. Do you know what I'm talking about? If an actor is feeling the nerves of that particular audition creeping in, or if an actor is truly self-conscious, you might see them rush through that slate because they don't really want to be seen. They want to get to playing a character, but you're missing out on a very important part here. Rushing through and seeming self-conscious is not sending a great signal to casting. So just try to take a breath and deliver at a normal pace that feels right and that feels natural. And then you have the actors who have dead eyes on film. It's almost robotic and they are just going through the motions of giving information. Hi, I'm Levi Packer and I'm 5'7" and I am represented. That's communicating a whole other idea to casting, an idea that you don't care, that you'd rather be somewhere else, that you're not invested in this career or this particular project or role, and a myriad of other things that are negative that you probably don't want to be communicating to casting if you're in fact trying to book that role. You also don't want to treat your slate like a chore. My name is Levi Packer and I'm 5'7" and I can't remember who represents me. Again, you're communicating an idea to casting that you probably won't be easy to work with. You're going to be a difficult actor, a difficult employee, and that you probably don't really care enough to show up and get the job done in a professional way. Now, a lot of people think that this little method of pretending like you don't care and acting like you don't need this is an effective tool. But I assure you it is not, and I assure you it is always better to come across as professional, prepared, confident, friendly, easy to work with than not. Heck, I'd recommend that you film your own slate and sit there and watch it just for learning purposes. Look at how your face is, look at how your attitude is, look at what your body language is saying. Do you come across as natural or a little more robotic? Do you come across as desperate or do you come across as likable? These are things that are so valuable because that's exactly what casting is seeing, and that's exactly the message that you're sending out into the world before they even see the actual work that you're doing. So what is your slate? Well, technically, it's a way for casting and people behind the scenes to organize the auditions in an efficient manner, but it's also your actor's handshake. It's your video business card. It's the way that you connect with the human being on the other side of the camera. It shows that you're confident, likable, friendly, easy to work with, professional, all of those good things that casting, directors, and human beings in general like to see in others. So we're going to do exactly what's asked of us so that they can maintain that order and efficiency. However, we now know that it's our 10 to 15 seconds to sprinkle in our little brand of magic, our own humanity, our own likability, our own charisma, our smile, and that thing that kind of makes us unique and stand out. The actor slate is something that you as an actor will be doing over and over and over again throughout your career. So you might as well get used to it, learn to like it, learn to love it, practice it, master it, start booking yourself some more jobs. Do a great slate. Be the slate master. Be the slate guru. Be the slate of all slaters. BAC Slater. At the slating rink tonight, it's all slate. That's so stupid. Good eye, slate. Slate away, slate away, slate away. Now get on out of here and go make yourself a great life. Get your slate on.